Hey, you guys, welcome to Fandom Is Magic. I'm Geek What, and I am joined by my friend Speed Force Spector. How you doing, Speedy?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm doing good. So for this episode of Fandom Is Magic, we are going to talk about everything Trolls, including the announcement of Trolls 3. Um, uh, are you excited about Trolls 3?
Nah, I'm not hype. Just kidding,
No.
I
Oh,
am.
all right. I was gonna say, are you serious? But you got me. You got me. That was good. That was good. What do you think about I have a question for you about this, but what do you think about it? Okay, first off, being released on November 17th, 2023. Do you think that's too long?
No, I
No.
think I will say this though. It given the release date, it is I mean, it's a good while, but it's pretty soon. It's kind of like Trolls World Tour that was announced pretty quickly. Honestly, I thought Trolls 3 announcement was going to be next year, so I'm shocked it came out so early as it did.
Mm.
But I think a November release date is pretty good, just mostly for merchandising reasons because World Tour was not a it wasn't good in terms of the merch side. So I will say like Trolls 1 was definitely the strongest with merchandising in terms of its release window. So
I
I hope
agree.
I hope that the merchandise is a little bit better this time around for this one. I will say this because I am talking about merchandise. I do hope that doesn't affect the film at all because I know that has happened before with Shrek 3, so I hope that they've learned from that mistake.
Right on. Yeah, no, I agree. I bought so much troll stuff from that first one, but barely anything from the second one. So I totally agree with that.
For the second
Okay.
one, for the second one, the in terms of merch, my only issue was a lot of characters from World Tour did not get a lot of toys. Like some
Oh,
characters either got maybe one or two, or some characters didn't at all. And that
yeah, I
kind of
agree.
backfired on troll collectors from 2016. And at the same time, they should have re-released old characters. They did do this, but they should have made it a little bit easier because I know a lot of people did skip out on 2016 in terms of non-Poppy and Branch characters.
No, no, yeah, no, I totally agree. Because like I said, I didn't even I wanted to buy those two rock trolls that when they were all like brush your teeth and then they were like very cool and everything. I wanted to buy those little dudes, but I couldn't find them. I was like, all right, well, I guess they're not getting bought and everything. So I wanted to talk about real quick also. The first movie earned 350 million at the global box office, and then the sequel last year, excuse me, Trolls World Tour, it grossed more than 100 million on PVOD, which was during the pandemic. And that was when theaters were all shut down and everything. So Trolls 3, unlike World Tour, is going to be exclusively in theaters. It'll be a theater release, and then it will have 17 days before it goes on PVOD because of Universal and their whole, with Universal and their whole release schedule and everything with theaters and stuff like that. Do you think that this movie will be able to make a lot of money with that 17 days in theaters before it goes to PVOD? And do you think it will?
100
Go ahead.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't even have to finish that.
Gotcha.
100% because you brought up the first film's box office.
Mm-hmm.
The first film did decently. Nothing to cry home about, but decent. Merchandise was something that saved it.
Mm-hmm.
By the time it got to DVDs, digital, TV airings, and when it was on Netflix for a good couple of years, those things managed to pretty much save Trolls at the end of the day by its releasing on DVD and all that stuff. So, because I don't have the exact numbers for the video on demand and stuff, or not video on demand, but like the home release window,
Hmm.
but it's pretty big.
Right on.
And in terms of them having the theatrical and video on demand window, I can imagine it doing decently in theaters if everything's a little bit better going forward in terms of how the world is. I can imagine it doing decently, but by time it hits that window of being video on demand, it's gonna do really well.
Right on. If we could go back to the release date real quick. Now, originally, the studio had reserved this September 22nd date for an untitled animated movie. One, do you think this was Trolls 3 and they moved it back? And two, if it was Trolls 3 that was supposed to be in this date, do you think September 22nd is a better date than November 17th?
I've talked with a bunch of people on this, and we thought it was, but I think there's other movies releasing that they have unannounced. I forgot what it was. I think there's probably a list somewhere. You could probably see what it is. But I don't think it was Trolls. But at the
Okay.
same time, it could have been Trolls because though the time it's releasing, I don't know what movies are coming out during that time, but Trolls 3 has a lot of competition it has to deal with.
Hmm.
And even then, back in 2016 with the first film, it had a lot of competition because it was going up against a couple months later, I think, Rogue One and the first Fantastic Beast movie.
Hmm.
So I'm curious as how Trolls is gonna survive during that. But in terms of, like, as I said, merchandising wise, it probably is for the best.
Right on. Right on. Yeah, yeah. Speaking of which, it will have to deal with some untitled Ryan Reynolds, John Krasinski movie. But I don't think it'll have a problem because this is like a family movie and everything, which I will definitely take my kids because I wanted to take them to World Tour when it came out before the pandemic hit. And I had bought them crap like this thing, and I was like, oh yeah, we're gonna dress up and we're gonna go see World Tour. And then we just had a party at home because it got all messed up. Stupid Corona. Okay. So I wanted to ask you a couple questions, and I know you have some too. My first one for you is what man, I cannot see it in this thing. I am what would you like to see in this third installment?
To be honest with you, I don't even know.
Right on.
It'll go into a question I'll give you a little bit later, and then I'll go into more detail.
Okay.
Um, but Trolls at this point is really only character driven for two characters right now. So outside of that aspect, I don't really know. However, if they had to do something, I can't imagine them focusing in like the troll kingdoms. I feel like because of the funk trolls existing and everything that Trollstopia has done, not to mention oh, I cannot think of the character's name. Um but he's voiced by Louise from or Lewis from Princess and the Frog. So I would not be shocked if that Trollstopia character makes it into the movies, but I wouldn't be shocked if they go to space or do something sci-fi related.
Gotcha. Um, well, I think that I would just like to see uh like a really cool bad guy. Like, like in the first one, I just didn't think that the king, oh, what's his name?
King Gristle.
Yeah, Queen Gristle. I didn't really feel like he was, oh, well, he really wasn't the bad guy. It was what's her
Well, he
face, the
wasn't the
cook.
villain.
Yeah,
You're talking about because Gristle and Bridget weren't villains; they were just misunderstood. But um, Chef, that
yeah,
was the
chef.
villain.
And then the second one, you had the Rock Princess. I don't remember her name either. Oh, I'm the worst
Queen
with
Barb.
names. Yeah. Um, Yeah, I
She
liked
wasn't
Reaver.
really a villain. She was just more of a misunderstood antagonist. And same with uh Poppy. Like they were both misunderstood until we
Yeah.
get to the fun troll scene and everything kind of comes together.
Yeah, I just like bad. I like villains, like straight up villains. Like, yo, I just
To be honest, I don't really want a villain for the next movie,
mhm.
but at the same time, I kind of do. But at the same time, I don't know what exactly they would do with the villain going forward
Right on.
because it would be. I feel like it would be treading the same ground, mostly because Trollstopia pretty much already introduced a Bergen to pretty much replace Chef in the last season, so I can't imagine Chef coming back.
Hmm.
And then I don't really know what a villain could honestly do after what Barb did in the last film. So they would have to come up with something like really, really interesting in order to have a villain.
Right on. Um, Off topic. Doesn't these little glasses thing make me look like Harry Carey?
Who?
Harry Carey. It's a character Will Ferrell did on SNL. Like, hey, Speed
Oh, I know.
Force,
I
what's your
know. I
favorite
know.
planet?
I know who you're talking about. Yeah, it
What's your
does.
favorite? Mine's the sun. Okay, sorry. Got off topic there. Okay, back to trolls. Okay. Um, okay, so for my second question, who is your favorite character? Hey,
Okay,
Speed
so
Force, who's your favorite character?
so I do like both Poppy and Branch, but Poppy is my bias. And then Guy Diamond and Tiny Diamond have, since Tiny Diamond just got introduced, and then he has episodes in Trollstopia. But Guy Diamond was always like my favorite character since the first movie. So yeah, and then after that, it's a whole entire list. But we don't have time for that. But those are my top two.
Maybe one of these days we'll do a ranking. Just be like, yeah, this.
Yeah,
But
sounds good.
no, Guy Diamond is my favorite. Like ooh, I can't even do it because he does that little modularized thing. I love him so much. I love Guy Diamond. He's my favorite. And then when he had a baby, I was all like, yay, baby. Um,
Same.
so okay, so for my next question, okay, what species of trolls do you like the best?
Pop, just because I'm like completely biased about that one.
Right on.
Um, Funk Trolls, just definitely because like Cooper was always an interesting character that they just kind of were like, he has an interesting design. This is a troll giraffe. We'll just roll with it. And then when they explored that it was like funk and everything, sci-fi and everything, I thought that was definitely a cool concept and idea. And then the rock trolls are just interesting in general, just because of
Mhm.
just aesthetic.
No, for sure, I
And
agree.
I'll even say it for tech. Honestly, I'm probably gonna say all of them at this point, but if I had to narrow it down, it'd probably be pop, funk, and rock.
Right on. Um, I wanted can I just say real quick though, one character I do not like, and that's Legsy. She creeps me out. Like I
I
don't
actually, it's so funny you say that. This character is so divisive in this fandom, but like
she I don't
I
know what it
actually
is.
I like her, but like they need to give her more screen time for something
Yeah.
because the only appearance she's had is like World Tour and Holiday in Harmony.
Yeah, I don't know why, but every time like maybe it's just that her legs grow. I don't know, but I'm just like as soon the first time I saw her, I was like, oh, I was like, I don't like her. I do not like her at all. I was like, she can, and then she wasn't in the movie for very much long, but I was just like, I'm not feeling her at all. Um, my favorite is the techno trolls. I don't know why, because I'm not like, I mean, I techno's fine, but I'm not like all like, yay, techno and everything. But I just like the techno trolls. Maybe it's like they look kind of like mermaids, maybe that's it. But I
Yeah,
do.
that's I because I do like the techno trolls too.
Mhm.
Um, and that like I that whole mermaid aesthetic is honestly my favorite. So I would
Yeah.
say that too.
Yeah, no, I do. I like them a lot. As far as that goes. All right. What do you think that they can do to improve on this like franchise and everything?
Ooh, okay. So one thing I will say, because one of my friends, I was gonna get them into the series, but then it turns out Trolls has a lot of epilepsy stuff with light, so I would
Oh,
definitely I would like they could still make a colorful movie. I would just kind of make sure that everyone can watch it because that's something I didn't think about until my friend brought that up. So I would definitely like it that like for kids and then grown people, everyone of all ages could watch it. So, just try to not do a lot of epilepsy stuff. So that's a way to improve. Other than that, it kind of goes into like my questions I have for like both of us and then whatever. But like I feel like the franchise is right now is on the right path. However, World Tour and then into Trollstopia was just kind of messy. I
hmm.
get why they decided to not put the characters from World Tour into Trollstopia just to save them for future movie installments. However, like right now, like the fandom's just antsy for more of those characters. Like there's not a problem with the Trollstopia characters. It's just that they've kind of caused like a waiting period. And
Okay.
while it's not a long waiting period, it does feel like a long waiting period considering
Hmm.
we do have Trollstopia and they're just not utilizing the World Tour characters. So I would try to work out a balance for the multimedia stuff.
Right on. Uh, yeah, yeah. I think that well, one thing I would personally, if what I would work on is, so I feel like when it comes to, okay, so you have all these different trolls, species or whatnot, and I feel like when it comes to like you have I think that too many of them look the same. Like you got the funk ones and they like got their giraffe looking thing, and you got the country ones and they got their horse looking thing. But I mean, I feel like you got the rock trolls and the pop trolls, and then you got the reggae trolls, and then you got the K-pop trolls. Like they're all different, and then the smooth jazz troll. Uh, they all just look the same. So I'm all like, well, I mean, besides their hairstyle, what makes the K-pop ones all K-poppy? I'm all like, I would like to
It kind of
distinguish.
it's one of those things where I agree and disagree at the same
Mhm.
time.
Right on.
Um, but that's just it's mostly because what were the you brought up the list that it's just mostly because they're just on two legs. That's
Right
kind
on.
of um and I can't really say they 100% have the same body types because they all definitely have to an extent different body types, but it's one of those things where you would have to watch the shows to
Okay.
kind of get a grasp because Trollstopia definitely went into more detail,
Um,
at least for rock. They introduced K-pop for one episode, but the TV shows go into a lot more lore details. So there's a lot of differences there. It's just you just
okay.
have to watch the spin-off material.
Right on. I do want to watch it. It's I just you know how it is.
Yeah.
I'll have my daughter watch it and she'll fill me in. She can fill me in. She's because she loves trolls. Well, my son loves trolls too. He loves it also. Okay. Um, if I could ask you my last question,
Yeah, yeah.
and I think it connects to your questions also. What singer slash song would you like to hear in this third movie?
Okay, so I don't have any song ideas,
Mm-hmm.
just mostly because Trolls somehow managed to just be like, we're gonna just dive into so much, and you'll know this song, so it kind of works out in the end. But I forgot what year it was. I think it was around 2000. It had to been around 2017, maybe 18, but I think it was 2017. It was during my like really old videos. It's lost now because Copa was weird. but Shawn Mendes, and it's kind
Oh
of
yeah.
it's kind of a no-brainer. But what happened was like a really long time ago on the CW, Justin was like hyping up that he was singing with Shawn Mendes, and Trolls 2 was like there weren't much news, but they're like, oh, we're looking for X, Y, and Z artists for X, Y, and Z genre. And I was like, okay, since JT's hyping up Sean, he's got to make it into World Tour. That didn't happen, but I'm like, I'm still having my fingers crossed that will happen. Um, I would like BTS in there, just mostly
Oh
because they
yeah, yeah, yeah.
introduced. I honestly was expecting them to be in Holiday and Harmony, but that kind of got shot down with what was actually revealed. Um, and originally the K-pop gang were actually going to be a group of boys.
Oh,
So, and then they changed it. So I wouldn't be too shocked if they decide to get BTS if they can. There was another group, and I can't think of the name right now. But for the promotion for Trolls the Beat Goes On, they had I forgot what group, but it was like two different groups, and they were singing "Best Day Ever" and then the theme song to "Beat Goes On." So I wouldn't be shocked if they made it in. I forgot. You could probably put a thing on screen; they'll probably show up. Um, of what I'm talking about. Prince D's actor, Anderson Paak. I can't think of the group name, but he's collabed with Bruno Mars. I would not be shocked if Bruno Mars makes it in just because of that reason.
right on. Well, I just have to say, I don't know if she's already had a song on there, but personally, I've just been like listening to some song. I would like to hear "Break Free" from Ariana Grande because I just like that song.
That is a good song. I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Ari's already made it into Trolls 1, so
Yeah, what was she on that that hey hey
yeah, that
yes I
was
know
her.
yes I
Yep.
know yes I know
Yeah,
um
that was
right
her.
on um and then I was also just because I would like to hear Rumors from Lizzo just because it's like a newer song and I like it, and so
I don't know how contextually that would work because
right on.
we don't know we don't know what the movie's about, but yeah.
Right, it doesn't, and like obviously it would be a
I
much
mean, if a,
cleaner version.
you know what, if a Lizzo song made it in, I wouldn't mind just because of Pony Life, and it just goes back full circle again. I wouldn't mind Good as Hell being in
Oh,
in
right on. Yeah,
Trolls, just
no.
so that way we could go full circle.
Right on. Well, there is clean versions of her song. Like you can find them because she does record them. I just
Well, Trolls has already I think I'm not sure, but like because they do so many mashups and a few of them, they honestly kind of skip out on a lot. But like World Tour, like Crazy Train, they did not censor that song at all whatsoever. So,
mm,
and then we did bring up Break Free, which is in the Sing 2 soundtrack.
mm.
Like a lot of Sing 2 soundtrack was not censored at all. So I'm curious if like they changed the lyrics to fit what's going on because Trolls World Tour did that. Um, but I wouldn't be shocked if they either change lyrics or censor it.
Right on. All right. So what questions do you have, dude?
Okay, so my question to you is how do you feel about Poppy and Branch since you watched Holiday and Harmony? How do you feel about like what is your stance on it? Do you feel like Poppy and Branch should just be friends or do you think they should be a couple?
No, they should be a couple. I want to see them in love and happy. I love
I
in real
go ahead.
life, I love romance and I love love. So I mean, and they're super cute, you know. So yeah, no, I don't want to see him friend zoned and then be all like, we're besties. No, I want to see him all snuggle and everything.
I agree. As Sheila B said in Holiday and Harmony, Team Broppy.
And Gene Broppy, yeah, no.
Um,
Do people in the fandom want them to only just be friends?
there's a divide. Um,
Really?
yeah, you have which I don't blame them to be honest with you. It's just most of it is just fanon ships between like different characters,
Mhm.
which honestly, like I could see those working out, because I have so many with Poppy. Like that girl's way too shippable for characters. But
Mhm.
I, in terms of like the perspective of them being friends, because they were written like that from in Beat Goes On, but there's
Okay.
a will they won't they type of thing the way they were written.
Okay.
But I can see them easily being friends at the same time.
Okay.
But but then you actually have like the canon stuff, and yeah, I could see Broppy working as a relationship, and like hence why I ship it.
Right.
But for me, currently speaking, I still ship it. But I am worried about the writing direction.
Mm.
And it's not because I don't have faith in the writers. It's just the way that relationships have been written in children's media,
Hmm.
especially animated movies. Because on one hand, they the next movie, and let's just say they're like they actually they confirm they were boyfriend and girlfriend, but it's like they're taking things very slowly, but it's not kind of on the nose in terms of how they address it.
Hmm.
But they are shipped in Holiday and Harmony. But because sometimes like I like to call the lovey-dovey potion,
Hmm.
where essentially both characters are like way too into the ship and they lose all sense of characterization. It's either both of them or one of them. And if it's one of them, they typically get sidelined.
Yeah. No.
However, I
Go
can't
ahead.
I can't see that ever happening because the franchise has built itself on Poppy and Branch being the main characters. Mostly Poppy, but it's those two connected in the story and plot in terms of the movies.
Right on. Yeah. No. Yeah. No. I
And
want
then
them to.
go ahead.
No. You go. You go.
Go, you go.
No. I was just gonna say no. I want them to be a couple. And if you
And
think differently,
then
stop it. You stop that. Stop that.
and then this one's kind of jumping the gun a bit. I can't imagine this in Trolls 3, but them already being not them being already married, but like they get married at the end of the movie,
Hmm.
and then whatever the fourth movie is going to be, of course, Broppy child is going to happen.
Yeah.
And considering how Branch is characterized, I'm worried he falls into that like really protective dad trope, and you're like
Mm.
really rooting for the kid because it's like, no, stop it, dad character. You're being way too like, no, you're being extra, stop it. Or
Right
like
on.
or like the character's just like way too mean in the
Mm.
process. So I'm kind of worried about that one.
I feel you.
So, and at the same time, I don't want them to rush into things too quickly with the relationship. And I think Dream to an extent, I do feel like DreamWorks doesn't really want to fully like they're committed to shipping them, but at the same time, they still want more troll content
Mm.
because typically with animated movies, it typically goes in this fashion: the bestie movie, hetero relationship, and then child. And then if you're lucky, you get a fourth film.
Right.
Or sometimes that doesn't even happen. But to an extent, I feel like they don't want to rush into things, but I do feel like they kind of are. And
Hmm.
then one of my biggest worries, you said it earlier, that Guy Diamond's one of your favorite characters,
Yeah, he's my
just
favorite.
like me. And one of my biggest worries is that Proppy will overshadow every other character.
That's a good point.
And those characters get sidelined. I can't imagine that, but I do feel like even then it's going to happen either way. But it's going to be a pick and choose game of which Snack Pack member makes it into the story, which World Tour character makes it into the story. To an extent, Trollstopia characters too, but I can't imagine them being too heavily in the movies, but it all depends on DreamWorks and everything.
Right on. Yeah, no, I agree. I agree.
So for me, that's like one of my biggest concerns is just how Poppy and Branch will be written going forward, and then the other characters, because really right now, the other characters are kind of just in this awkward position of you don't know who's going to make it in or not. And I've talked about this on my channel.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of movie one, like no one had characterization outside of Cooper and Biggie. Everyone else was you either liked the character design or you already bought merchandise and you read the bios, or
Mm-hmm.
there were a few books that had bios.
Right
The
on.
TV show, like Trolls the Beat Goes On, did like a lot of the heavy lifting for so many of the Snack Pack members. And then you have World Tour, and I made a whole video about Biggie, and like the fandom doesn't even talk about Biggie in the second movie, just because it was either people like me feel like it was just the way it was handled wasn't the best in terms of how it was written. And then the second one, it was just kind of like you could have done this in the movies, or not the movies, but the TV show, which they already kind of did a huge Biggie character arc, and the beat goes on. So
Mm-hmm.
them doing it in Trollstopia, carrying over that characterization wouldn't have been much of a big deal. And then the third one, which is kind of no one really goes into that much detail about it, but James Gordon over saturization.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of him.
And it typically, when it comes down to Trolls reviews, it's typically, oh no, it's James Gordon. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to actually talk about why Biggie didn't work in World Tour. So
Oh yeah.
you have that to deal with, which like Cooper had like a much bigger story
Mm-hmm.
compared to Biggie. And like in a art book, it was revealed that they do have a little bit of a bias just because they do like working with James. So I don't know if Biggie's gonna have a huge part in the next movie, but a lot of the World Tour, or not World Tour, but a lot of the Snack Pack members, they barely get the foot in the door. Like DJ Suki is in a weird position right now, but like let's just say her, like you don't really know what her voice fully sounds like in a full sentence. Sad and Chenille only have a few lines. Guy Diamond, his voice is kind of all over the place. It's still the same, but it's definitely changed over the course of the series. And you can notice if you're a fan, but like if you barely pay attention, it's like, oh great, it's great that this character gets a line. But like every other character in the Snack Pack, they barely really had any characterizations in the films. And then World Tour, you really don't know who they're gonna pick for the next movie.
Mm-hmm.
And like even Barb, while she's popular, and World Tour has definitely capitalized on that fact, but like even Barb isn't safe from whether or not she gets purged from the next film and she's like in the background. So
Mm.
it's a mess.
Right on. Yeah, that's a good point. Like, who do you let shine, and then who do you let just kind of drift off into the background? Um, yeah. Did you have any other questions?
No, that's it.
No. Well, are you just super excited about Trolls 3?
I'm excited, and then with the concerns I do have, so I'm optimistic, and then there's the realist in me who's like cautiously optimistic too.
Mm-hmm. Right on. Yeah, no, I totally get it. I'm excited about it, just because I mean, I do enjoy Trolls a lot. It's super fun. You know, they've got the music and everything. And me and my kids, we just sing and dance to that crap. So I'm like, yeah, let's do this. So
Same.
yeah, so I'm all like, so I'm down with it, you know, and
But whenever Trolls has something theatrical, except for World Tour, it's definitely an event somehow.
right on. Yeah. All right. All right, you guys. Thanks so much for joining us on this episode of Fandom is Magic. We hope you guys enjoyed listening to us talk about our thoughts on Trolls 3. We hope you guys come back for our next episode. And we'll see you then. If you like this video, go ahead and hit the like button. Make sure to subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time. All right. Let me hit stop on this.